Before the awakening, before the becoming, before the coaching, there was me, a pressing comb, some good old Marcel flat irons and curlers, and a chair. Before I became this version, the version you see in front of you, before any of the titles I carry with my whole chest, I was the woman standing behind you in the mirror at the salon. 30 years ago, I began to nourish a talent within me that became a gift I had the privilege to give to others. For 3 decades now, I've held the title of hairstylist and makeup artist and have had the ability to transform the look of women and how they view themselves when they look in the mirror. What people tended to see was that I made women look more beautiful. But what was actually happening and what I didn't fully understand until many years later is that I was holding space for women in their most unguarded moments. When a woman sits in my chair, something happens. The guard comes down, the performance stops, and what's really going on within them starts to come out. Yes, I've gotten the opportunity to be the glam maker for women celebrating life, births, weddings, birthdays, milestones, young ladies going to their homecoming dance or their prom or taking graduation pictures. Women who are finally letting themselves be seen. But I've also worked with women going through chemotherapy, shaving their heads because they didn't want to watch their hair fall out in the shower. Choosing to let their hair go was a way for them to feel empowered during a scary and unpredictable time. Women who had just lost a spouse, a parent, a child, or miscarried, and felt safe enough to crumble in that space with me. That wasn't just water and lather running down the drain. That was their pain through their tears. And in those moments, their ability to just let it all go. Women whose relationships and marriages were falling apart behind closed doors while the outside world got a perfectly beat face, honey. I could see what was behind the mask she needed to wear that day. And in every single one of those moments, my job was the same. To see her, reflect her, remind her. I could see what they couldn't. A vision of what was on the other side of that appointment and what was possible for her. I knew what she already had to work with. Her true beauty, waiting beneath the exhaustion, the grief, the years of shrinking, just wanting to be seen again. I wasn't just doing their hair. I was witnessing a woman in the most vulnerable, most celebratory, most raw chapters of their lives. And what I learned standing behind that chair for 30 years changed everything for me. But here's what no one knew. While I was helping women see themselves, I couldn't quite yet see me. I was doing their hair transformations, and behind the scenes, quietly, privately, painfully, I was trying on versions of myself that didn't quite fit. Experimenting with who I was supposed to be for me came through trying different hairstyles or eyeshadow techniques. But none of them ever felt right. And I know now that that was not a coincidence. Because it wasn't my reflection that felt unsettled. It was my life. Since I was a little girl, there was a question living inside of me that I couldn't shake. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? I carried that question through everything. Through relationships that broke, through abandonment and betrayals, through rejection from family and friends, through the kind of pain that you learn to wear quietly because you are the one that everyone else leans and depends on. And there's no space to fall apart when you're holding space for everyone else. I was helping women become themselves while I was still searching for me. I was doing their hair transformations in the light and trying to find myself in the dark. I didn't realize that all of these moments of excitement and words of encouragement that I was giving to my clients was also for me. I was speaking to us because we needed to hear it. In metaphysics, we talk about 2 versions of the self. The temporary self, the version of you that was shaped by your experiences, your wounds, your conditioning, your survival. The roles that were assigned to you before you were old enough to choose them for yourself. The woman who learned to be small so others could feel big. The woman who learned to be strong so that others didn't have to be. The woman who got so good at wearing that mask that one day she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the face looking back at her. That's the temporary self, the constructed self, the borrowed identity. And then there's the true self, your higher self, the version of you that existed before the conditioning set in, before the losses, before the labels, before someone convinced you that who you actually were was somehow too much, not enough, or simply not allowed. The temporary self is not who you are. She's who you became in order to survive. And I want you to hear me when I say this. You were never broken. You were borrowed. You were living in an identity that was never yours to begin with. And now, it's time to reclaim her. That's why I created Reclaim Her. Not as a program, not as a course, not as content, as a calling. Reclaim Her is for the woman who has spent years, maybe decades, performing as a version of herself that was built for everyone else's comfort. She's 30, 35, 50, 62. It doesn't matter. She's in the middle of or recently divorced. She's figuring out who she is now that the kids are grown and gone and the nest is empty. She's in a career that no longer feels like it's hers. She's standing at the crossroads of everything she was told to be and everything she knows she's meant to become. And now she's ready. Ready to stop shrinking, ready to stop apologizing, ready to stop performing, and ready to reclaim her. Not a new her, not a better her, not a fixed or upgraded or more palatable version of her. The original her. The one who was always meant to be here. The one who got buried under the weight of survival and who had to carry the trauma in her wallet like it was her driver's license. The one who only made decisions for herself based on the expectations of others. And the one who has spent years living a life that was never fully hers. She's still in there. I've seen her. I know her because I was her. I'm Dawn Kristin Ellison. I'm a Life Mastery Metaphysician and Awakening Integration Coach. What I do is this. I help women reclaim the identity that was taken from them and help them take it back. Not through positive affirmations that sit on the surface, not from motivation you get on Monday that fades by Thursday, but through a process I call the RE.C.L.A.I.M method, a framework that moves you through the work from the inside out. We reconnect you to who you actually are beneath the conditioning. We excavate what has been buried, the gifts, the knowing, the truth. We clear the patterns, the wounds, the limiting stories that have kept you locked and stuck. We liberate you from the identity that was never yours to begin with. We activate the version of you that has been waiting in the wings. We integrate her, not as a visitor, but as a permanent reality. And we manifest, not through wishful thinking, but through aligned becoming. This is not self-help. It's identity restoration. There is a difference. Self-help improves who you think you are. What I do reclaims who you actually are. I need you to hear something. She is not lost. I need you to really receive that. She's not lost. She didn't leave you when the trauma came. She didn't disappear when the rejection hit. She didn't walk away when the humiliation tried to define you, and she didn't abandon you when the injustices told you that you didn't matter. She stayed. She's been riding every wave right alongside you, through every version of yourself you tried on, through every mask you put on just to make it through the day, through every chapter you wish you could undo. She was there, waiting for you to see her, to feel her, to breathe her, and to fully, finally become her. She isn't somewhere you have to go find. She isn't something that you have to build from scratch. She is within you, and she's always been within you, sitting quietly beneath every mask you were told to wear, beneath every identity that was handed to you before you were old enough to say yes or no, beneath every version of yourself that was shaped by survival instead of truth. She has been waiting, patient, faithful, certain that this moment would come. And now I want to ask you something, and I want you to sit with it, really, really sit with it. Who were you before they told you who you were supposed to be? Who were you before the trauma, before the rejection, before the humiliation, before the injustices that tried to convince you that you were less than what you actually are? Who were you before you put that mask on your face and started wearing it as your truth? Who is she? Because she's still here. She never left. And it's time to reclaim her. I'm Dawn Kristin Ellison, and I am here to help you take her back so that she can take her rightful place as you. If something inside you just woke up, trust that. Share this with another woman in your life that needs to hear it. And if you're ready to do this work, everything you need to take the next step is in my link or listed below. I want you to know what you just stepped into. This channel, this page, this space, however you're experiencing it. This is now that safe space that I've created for my clients in the salon all these years. A home base for every woman who is ready to do the work. This is where we talk about identity, reclamation, healing, awakening, the metaphysical, the spiritual, and the deeply human. This is where we get honest about the mask we wear, the selves we've outgrown, and the women that we are becoming on the other side of all of it. This is not a highlight reel. This is not a performance. This is real conversation about real transformation for the woman who is done living small and ready to live true. So if that's you, if something in you recognizes itself today, subscribe, like, share this with another her, because the content that's coming is going to meet you exactly where you are and walk you straight into who you were meant to be. Welcome to Reclaim Her. She's waited long enough.